Yo, what is going on everybody? Shri Kanase here. So how to create an email pop-up form in 2020 and onwards. Now before I get into this video, I want to say that email pop-ups have been one of the biggest game changers for me in the year of 2019. Now previously before 2019, I wasn't really paying much attention to email pop-ups because I didn't know how much value they could provide to my store and how much they could actually increase the amount of sales I got. But after consistently receiving a 20% to 30% conversion rate for just my email pop-ups on my main niche store, what I realized is that if I don't set up email pop-ups, I'm going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. And 2019 has been a year full of testing for me when it comes to email pop-ups. I've literally tried every single headline there is out there, every single description possible for my store. And after a lot of testing, I finally figured out one specific template which I'll be showing you guys in this video, which I think will work the best for majority of the stores. But a lot of people believe that just having a random email pop-up on their website is gonna do the trick. Well, unfortunately, it's not as easy as that. Email pop-ups can definitely bring you in a lot of money if you strategically aim them towards your customers at the right time. And 99% of Shopify dropshippers, and this may include you as well, but they don't know how to strategically create an email pop-up that pops up at the right time just so you can capture that almost lost sale. But without wasting any more time, let's just jump right inside my computer and go over the exact strategy on creating a good email pop-up that converts like crazy. So now that we're inside my Klaviyo account and I'll be using a test account for this, there's actually one thing you'll have to do before you even do any of the things I'm about to say. And that is smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Now it's just gonna take about 2 seconds, really quick, just slightly tap. Okay, hopefully you have slightly tapped that like button, but let's go ahead and begin. So the email app that I actually use to this day and recommend now is Klaviyo. Now previously in a lot of my previous videos, what I used to recommend is an app called Privy. And what Privy did is it basically allowed you to create a nice email pop-up so that it could pop up on your website, and then whatever email was registered inside that pop-up, it would get sent to Klaviyo. But what I started to notice is that the Privy fees were actually mounting one on top of the other as my email list started to grow, and this was just getting too expensive for me to handle. Because what I personally do is I have an allocated budget of what I can spend on each specific given app, and there is a specific budget which I can't go over when it comes to emails. So what I started to do is I started to just integrate whatever email pop-up that I have for my store right onto Klaviyo. So that is why I started recommending Klaviyo to create the sign up form, because not only is it easier to directly send the email pop-up directly to one of your email flows that you can create on the bottom here, but it's also kind of cheaper in the long run. Now, just a big disclaimer, I do not use Klaviyo to send out email campaigns. I only use Klaviyo to send out email flows. And that is because I've personally noticed over time, Klaviyo itself actually gets expensive as your email list grows and grows. And that is just not something I want to spend money on too much. So instead, I just use Klaviyo for the flows, and I use another app called MailerLite for the campaigns itself. I'm not affiliated with MailerLite at all, but that is one app I've found good results with for campaigns. So if you want an app for the campaign specifically, MailerLite is the one to go because it is considerably cheaper than Klaviyo. But on Klaviyo, here's what you have to do in order to create the sign up form. So on the left, you'll have to scroll down just a little bit until you see this section right here. And this section includes sign up forms and preference pages. We want to go ahead and click on the sign up forms because this lets you create the specific pop-up notification that comes onto your store. So there are 2 steps that you will have to do in order to get Klaviyo successfully set up on your store. And actually, if you have already integrated Klaviyo with your Shopify account, there's only one step, which is building a sign up form. Because there is no Shopify store for this specific Klaviyo account, that is why it is letting me know that I have to install the Klaviyo sign up forms manually on my website. But we're gonna go ahead and do the second option here in this video, and that is build a sign up form, because we want to create a sign up form which looks very, very professional and is gonna get us those emails so that we can then send them emails one after the other to basically have them convert onto our website. So before actually going ahead and creating the sign up form itself, I want to tell you guys exactly how I use the sign up form and then integrate this with one of the email flows so that I can get a double win-win situation for me. So the main intention of the sign up form we are going to be creating is to basically pop up at exit intent. Now you may be thinking, what is exit intent exactly? Well, let me show you. So let's say this is my Shopify website. I'm scrolling through and I see a specific product which I'm interested in. I click on it and I read through the description and everything, but I realize that the price is too high. It is out of my budget. So what I do is I take my mouse cursor, and this is considering that you're on a computer or laptop, but I take my cursor and I slowly bring it towards the top section to go ahead and click on the X button to exit out of this window. What happens is when Klaviyo notices this happening for a specific customer who's on your website at the moment, Klaviyo is immediately going to trigger this pop-up, so it pops up right at the moment when the cursor is right on top of the X button to close out the window. And this is known as exit intent. We're basically capturing the customer right at their most vulnerable period, which is when they're kind of contemplating whether they want to buy from not, and they're just about to leave. This is kind of something interesting that happens all of a sudden for your customer, and they may not even be expecting this. So what happens is for a second or two, they will pause. At least 99% of the people will pause when they see this pop-up, and they will most likely read through the pop-up. And that is simply because we got them at their most vulnerable time, which is when they were about to just leave. They may have really wanted the product, but just because of the price, they can't really get it. So they were just about to just exit at that moment, and we caught their attention. So the main intention of this pop-up is to tell them to basically hold up, there's a special surprise for them, and that is that we're offering them a special one-time coupon code. What I've noticed is that when we create an exit intent pop-up that follows this criteria, the abandoned cart rate is significantly lower compared to if you did not do that. And what I see a lot of people do is that right when I go on their Shopify website, the pop-up immediately pops up. Even if I have not clicked anything, I literally just landed on the page a second ago. And this is not strategic placing of the pop-up. You're barely gonna get a conversion rate for that pop-up. Nobody's gonna be interested. But if you do it like I mentioned just now, where it is exit intent, that is when you have the highest chance of getting the most amount of signups and the most amount of recovered lost sales. But that is exactly the general strategy. And when somebody signs up for the pop-up, it's gonna go towards one specific email flow, which is called the welcome series flow, and we'll go over that shortly after we discuss how to basically design this one. So for the design of the email pop-up, I recommend that you start out with something very, very general, nothing too fancy. I usually go with those specific designs which have a rectangular shape to it, because anything other than a rectangle like this one, and it just kind of looks unprofessional, it throws people off, and they may not be as inclined to purchase. But of course, everything is worth a test. Everything I say that works for me may not always work for you. But usually what I recommend to a lot of people, especially my mentoring students who I mentor for Google Ads specifically, and if you're interested in kind of getting one-on-one attention from me, message me on Instagram. My Instagram is @dedicatedyoung. But going back to the email flow, the one I recommend mostly to my students is this one right here, because not only is it very, very simple, but it's also the rectangle that we want. Already kind of laid out exactly how I want it to be laid out, because we want a specific subject line which is very, very bold, it stands out, and it's gonna scream a message. And then right below that, we're gonna have a very short message saying something like take 10% off, or we have a surprise for you, take 10% off, etc. But I'll be going over that very shortly. But let's go ahead and create the form. You can give this whatever name you want. I just like to give this the name welcome series. So welcome series. And then once you do that, you want to choose a specific list. Here is where you choose that specific list I was referring to. And if you go ahead and click on this, you want to go ahead and choose the newsletter list, because this is the list that is directly connected to your welcome series flow inside your email flow section of Klaviyo. So we're going to choose that, and we're going to hit create form. Once you hit the create form button, you're going to be taken to this page where Klaviyo basically lets you customize the form to your preference. Now, this is where you'll differ from my email pop-up, and that's simply because you want to be choosing the color scheme, the wording, whatever you want here based on the color scheme of your theme. So if your logo for your store is pink, all of your colors are pink, don't be leaving this at yellow, because then it is not going to match. There's going to be this consistency with your store, and the pop-up, you're going to not get as many conversions as you could with a consistency. So the small things like colors matter a lot when it comes to email pop-ups, and that's what I've noticed after continuous testing. But choose the color scheme again that is relevant to your website. Let's say in this example, my logo is yellow, all of my colors are yellow. We have no problem leaving this with yellow, but the main things I want you to focus on is the first one right here in this section. When you land on this page, you'll be on the block section. We want to go ahead and go into behaviors, and from behaviors, we want to basically go under display timing and choose a loading delay. This is where we choose the exit intent option. And the exit intent option is the first one, which says show when visitor is exiting the page. that is exactly when we want our pop-up to show up. And that is the main option you want to be setting up when it comes to the behavior section. Another one that you want to set up is this one right here under display frequency, where it says don't show again after submit form or go to URL action. You want to change this to 35 days. That's just the number I've noticed that works when it comes to email pop-ups, because usually after 35 days have elapsed, the person may have already forgotten about your website. So if they come again after, say, the 36th day, they may still want to get another coupon code so they can purchase from you again. So those two things you want to do. Other options, you want to make sure to leave it as it is on default. You don't really want to change anything. But once you have done that, then the next step is to basically edit this forum. So the first thing we want to edit is of course the title. Now you'll have several options as to how you can edit the title and what you can make the wording of this title. Remember, the main reason why we even have this exit intent pop-up is to basically stop somebody in their tracks and prevent them from exiting. So for the title, I recommend something very bold. Something like don't miss out works, but you can also try something like hold up, we have a surprise, or hold up, read below. Another one that I've tested that works really well is something like special VIP offer unlocked. So these three are the titles that you may want to test. Of course, you can use these as templates and then try something of your own. But when it comes to the subject line, here's what you want to try. You may want to enter the text, take 10% off when you enter your email below, or you can also enter something like enter your email and get 5% off or 10% off your next order with us. Inside the text here, we want to be very specific and we want to let them know exactly how they can utilize what they can get out of signing up for our email flow. And this is really important because that literally determines whether they want to give their email or not to you. But another option that you have for testing out the specific description for the email flow is something like receive a 10% off special offer when you enter your email below. So our main goal here is to make the customer feel special, make them feel as if they've unlocked a special offer, and most importantly, get their email, because their email is going to provide a lot of advantage to us in the long run. And then of course, the button itself, you can leave it as get 10% off, or you can change it to sign up now, or any other kind of variation. But now let's go ahead and go on to the success message, because this is where you need to do a little bit of a difference. So for the success message, first of all, for the title, I just recommend putting something like coupon code unlocked, or thank you for signing up, or even just having welcome works as well. But for the description, this is the most important. You want to remove this where it says use code and then insert coupon code at checkout to get 10% off. Instead, what you want to write here is the following. You want to say check your email now for your code, or something like check your email now to redeem the code, or any other variation similar to that. And the main reason is we don't want to give them the coupon code here. We rather want them to check their email for our email. And there are several reasons why I'm doing this. The first reason is I want to train my customers to be accustomed to opening my store's emails. And doing this is literally the first step to making them become aware of your emails and become more acceptable to opening your emails. That is the first step. And this is kind of a psychological factor that just kicks in right when they open their email to receive the coupon code. And the second reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want my store to seem too cheap just giving out coupon codes and seeming too desperate. Rather, I would have it done professionally where the coupon code is directly emailed to their inbox and then they can redeem it on my website. So these two things are again psychological factors, but they really make a big impact. Now let's go ahead and go onto our email flow section, because this is the next step so that our emails are getting sent correctly. But make sure for the sign up form, once you've designed it, make sure to publish it. Once you publish it, if you scroll down and look at the welcome series, this is the one where you get to send them the coupon code. And as you can see, it says after someone is added to the list newsletter. That is why we chose the list newsletter here. But let's go ahead and go inside the welcome series and look at the specific emails. So again, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is for a sample store. This is not for a store that is currently running at the moment. But the first email that I sent is this one right here, which is email number 1. And there is no time delay, as you guys can see. So time delays are basically these ones right here, where you can tell Klaviyo by simply dragging it around when to send a specific email. So the second email is sent 4 hours after, but the first email, notice how there is no time delay, because we want this email sent immediately after somebody signs up. And if we go ahead and look at the specific email to see exactly how it is laid out, it is laid out this way. So here is what I do. I send them a warm welcome from my store, just saying a warm welcome to you from Berusco. This is the sample store's name. And then right below that, I give them the coupon code. But here's the kick. I say that the coupon code is valid for only 48 hours because I want to add some kind of scarcity so the person actually wants to use the code. And then I give them the coupon code, and then I also give them several reasons as to why they should use the coupon code right now, because some people, even with the coupon code, may be contemplating whether they want to buy from you or not. So these two things make them want to purchase, and also give them the discount, so in case they weren't going to buy because of the price, now they will buy. And then I use the specific button here which says use discount now to directly send them back to my store. But that is the general layout for my first email, which gets sent to these people, and this is the main email that you want to have set up even if you don't have these other emails set up. But that is exactly how you set up the email sign up form with Klaviyo for your Shopify store. If you found any type of value in this video, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.